Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Attitude Era Review Podcast, where today we will be reviewing Raw from July 1st, 1996, not live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Definitely not live, and it shows, folks. So, as you hear, let me introduce my tag team partner. He is my Shawn Michaels to me being Marty Jannetty. Arnold Risbrook. How you doing? I totally pronounced that wrong.
Doing fantastic, and honestly, that just gives me more reason to kick you through a window here in a while.
Yeah, this episode really shows the contrast between Nitro and Raw. It came off hard.
Big time.
Both of them, both shows were countering, trying to counter the other with programming and match to match. And Nitro has the advantage because they already know what Raw's got, and I'll give them credit.
Definitely. And I mean, if you think about it too, I mean, at this point, the WWF had no choice. But I mean, just looking at the first match on the card, that hands down should have been your main event, considering everything involved. You know what I mean? But of course, where you're doing a tape show versus a live show, it's kind of like, well, we gotta open with our champion in a match. Like, imagine opening WrestleMania 17 with The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, it kind of has that vibe about it a little bit, not to that degree.
It comes down to they need to hook you in first so you don't switch over to Nitro. If they started with their main event match first and you switch over to Nitro, you're probably not coming back. But if they put this opening match on last, I mean, once you watch that, you're going to be flipping to Nitro anyway. So, I mean, at this point, it's let's try to get you for the hour, hook you first, then give you some crap afterwards, instead of the normal, we're going to start slow and try to go fast. Which Nitro can go fast and then slow down and go fast again because they've got the extra hour, and they know 90% of the people, once they flip off Raw, they're switching over.
Right over to Nitro.
They're switching right over to TNT because it's not Dynamite.
Absolutely.
Folks. It's Nitro.
And I was like, yeah, that extra hour definitely gives WCW a kick at this point. And realistically, people have no choice but to switch over after that, unless it's like, well, Raw's over, time for bed. I mean,
that's just the shills for WWF at this point, who won't have anything to do with WCW. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, you're flipping over. Even if you're watching Raw, even if Raw, and through the Attitude Era, Raw was my number one show, I would do that. I would mainly watch Raw, watch Nitro in the commercials, and flip back over. And of course, by the time I started watching, it was both 2 hours, so that was my normal routine. Now, if there was a crap match that I didn't give a hoot about on Raw, I would flip over and watch a little bit of Nitro. But I'm not one of those that, I only watched this one. How dare you watch that one?
That's weird. See, I was the other way around, honestly.
I'm a wrestling fan.
Like,
not a WWF fan.
I would start off, I would start off 8 o'clock with Nitro, unless my parents had the TV. But it was like, usually, like, my dad didn't care to sit there and watch it with me. And especially about the time I started watching wrestling, I mean, by this point, WWF had already kind of gotten TV 14. So, of course, me being 9-10 years old, like, parents weren't too keen on that. And of course, like, my parents knew a lot more of the WCW guys. A lot of them were older. So they were like, totally okay with you watching this.
Same here.
I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I was more as Jericho now says, I was the key demographic. I was about 13, 14 years old. I'm a little older than Arnold, I believe. Just a couple years. But yeah, I was in that key demo. So so that's, you watched one, I watched the other, and that's basically the way it went for most of the Attitude Era until, well, I say most of. basically until a certain person flushed WCW down the drain, but we'll get there. All right, so the first match on the card. So WCW opens up with the tag team title match, the Harlem Heat versus the Steiners that we talked about the other day. So why'd they do that? Because WWF started with Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty, the third rematch in this after they broke up the Rockers. So, I mean, this is their big match on Raw. And at this point, WWF was still, they didn't treat Raw like a big deal. It was just a vehicle to get to a pay-per-view to sell numbers.
That's pretty much how it went. And it shows with, once again, you turn it on. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. We're in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm Vince McMahon, and along with Jerry King Lawler.
Again. We are still in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Then we got, if I remember correctly, we didn't even see Marty Jannetty enter in this one. I think it started off with Shawn Michaels.
No. I had completely forgotten that he was in a tag team with Al Snow, and they showed Al Snow first. And I'm like, wow, Jannetty looks awful here. Oh, wait, that's not Jannetty. I'm like, I thought he looked really weird for some reason. I completely forgot that he was in a tag team with Avatar.
I completely forgot about that at first because I thought the same thing. I was like, this Leaf Cassidy guy looks really familiar. And then they showed his face. I'm like, yep, that's Al Snow.
Yeah.
It's like, it caught me off guard.
But yeah, this match was good. It was very good. I think it was a better match than the tag team match on the other channel. But I mean, that's personal opinion. But because Shawn Michaels was probably the best. He could have a match with anybody.
Oh yeah,
and it'd be great.
He could have a match against the Air and sell it. It's always been something I've always liked about Shawn Michaels because, he was great at selling things, especially this time in his career. You look a little later on in his match against Hogan at WrestleMania. That was just... Anyway.
That was politics and
101.
fish flopping.
That was textbook.
Yeah. Now, 9 times out of 10, I can't stand Shawn Michaels for his antics and backstage politics, but that one, I completely understand what he was doing because Hogan just took it to the nth degree, and Shawn Michaels wasn't having any of it. I mean, Hogan did not ever want to put him over. I mean, Shawn Michaels had the same attitude years earlier, but I mean, if you're going to have 3 matches, you got to put the guy over once. You can't just boom, boom, boom 3 times.
And that's why a lot of guys aren't fans of Hogan, personally. Excuse me. I follow the Iron Sheik on Twitter. I love that man.
Oh, he hit him.
I
and
love
Hogan.
that man.
He's great.
It doesn't matter what it is. It could be like, I don't know, Happy National Pizza Day, except for everybody but that jabroni Hulk Hogan. And I love it, dude.
Yes.
Every time. It's like, it doesn't matter what it is. And he's just like, yeah, Hulk Hogan. And we all know the story with that because, they was like, look, like, he's one of those guys, he's not going to put you over kind of deal. And the black eye he had at WrestleMania in 1993 is proof of that. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
Yeah, he doesn't do jobs. Oh, it's okay. But I love Michael's intro here with the click cam, little nod to little kayfabe breaking nod there. But I mean, you'd really have to be dirt sheet reading anyway to know that. With Jose coming out with, I loved how the technology. I didn't know they had this back then because I did not see a wire on that camera, but it was broadcasting to the TV screen. I thought that was pretty cool how they were doing that live.
Oh yeah, that was
quote
pretty
unquote
neat.
Live.
I was like, honestly, I didn't really pay attention to it either.
Wait, hold on, stop. I just realized I'm an idiot. This isn't live. They went in and redubbed that. That's what they've done. Shoot, I forget this isn't live. God, they've took his video camera tape and put it in his end. Okay, folks, I'll take this one for the team. That's a ring the bell. I'm DQ'd right there. I'm done. Oh, I'm so stupid. It's not live. That's how they've done it. They didn't have the they didn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth back then. Good God. And that wasn't like a fancy camera. It was just a handheld. Oh, so skipping past my stupidity. So Michaels has Jose Lothario, Hall of Famer. I hope he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
he definitely should be. And Jannetty and Leaf Cassidy, Al Snow, Avatar, whatever they're calling him this week, has Corny, James E. Which I don't know why, other than because they're not a member.
I would say no. I don't think the New Rockers were Camp Coordinate. I think that was Owen Hart, Vader, and drawing a blank. Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
British Bull. Yeah. Yeah, so I think maybe they just wanted a manager out there for the finish and say, hey, Corny, you're here, go.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but this match was solid. I mean, Michaels and Jannetty, even though whatever substance problems they may have had in their lives, they could put a good match on.
It was like, and the way they build it too is, it's like, I know you better than you know yourself. And like that whole thing. And I enjoyed that. And honestly, that made the match just, for me, because like there was just reversal on reversal. And it wasn't like, oh my God, how did you reverse that? And it's like with this match, you're like, okay, obviously you knew he was going to go for the sweet chin music. So you're like, nope, I'm going to step back.
Yep.
And, that was just amazing to me.
Yeah, they were nice counters all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and it kind of made me chuckle. Actually, I wrote down in my notes the fact at the beginning of the match after Michaels makes his way to the ring and everybody kind of gets settled in where they're at, just having Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty just standing face to face, just for that moment, it just it helped kind of build up the match for me. I'm sure the crowd felt the same way. And
the crowd was kind of into it. Like that.
They were definitely into it, and it definitely showed. And it's kind of funny, like, I guess in this sense, seeing Marty Jannetty work as the heel in this match. And it was weird, but honestly, he did a pretty decent job of it. Because I actually put that in my notes too. I was like, the Boo Birds were out, and
they were definitely behind Michaels in this.
Yeah, he's your champ.
He's the champion and all.
Well, you want a heel champ from time to time, but Shawn Michaels is not that heel champ. Like, not in this case. Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
But think about the dynamics when they had the Rockers, they were faces. Shawn turns heel, and now they've completely reversed. Shawn's the baby face. Yep. Jannetty's the heel. So that's pretty nice in this. This was a good match. The jackknife into the bridge was beautiful. That was one beautiful, smooth, almost too smooth, but because it looked great, but it was so pretty though. Like because they did that jackknife pin, and they both just kind of pull themselves up, and they're just standing there like, ooh, nice. But that takes a lot of strength and coordination and a little bit of working together, but you both need to get up. So I kind of get it.
Definitely.
But other than that, the match was just solid. There was nothing stupid about it.
Absolutely.
They told a beautiful story. And somebody needs to go back 25 years and sit Ahmed Johnson down and show him how to do ground and pound punches where you don't punch the mat, because they were doing that, and I'm not saying they're full on punching each other, but they were making contact, not punching the mat beside the face.
There was something else I wrote down that was kind of random. Oh, It was about our good commentator, Mr. McMahon, who I felt like he was losing his mind this entire match. And not just because Cornette was sitting next to him, but it made me laugh.
Oh, I think he probably needed a new pair of pants after this.
I'd say so.
It's a family-friendly show, so I'm not going to say why he needed a new pair of pants, but you can infer that one. I wrote that I miss pile drivers. AEW does do them, but they shouldn't do them because they can't work safe. WWE just banned them because one guy got hurt. And they did them for a long time after that, before they banned them. I think about 10 years ago, I remember it was John Cena pulled out one on, I believe, CM Punk, and everybody lost their minds, which goes to show you something. I stole this from Cornette. Everybody's going to call me Cornette Light, but the man's brilliant. How can I miss you if you won't go away? You don't see something for a long time, and then you do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you get a pop. If you do it every week, you get numb to it. It's all these, how many, we've done what, 3 or 4 weeks already? How many people have we seen run and dive out of the ring? Ahmed Johnson lawn darted himself, and then 2 or 3 others, maybe 2 or 3. Watch a modern match. How often does it happen? 2 or 3 times a match?
That's being generous.
I've seen spots where a guy will run, dive through the ropes, hit somebody, roll back in the ring, bounce off the ropes again, and dive and hit somebody else.
Yep, that sounds about right.
20 years ago, if somebody did that once, the crowd would have popped. Then they would have been fired for doing something stupid, and you wouldn't have seen it again for a while. Even the one dive. But now that you see it every time, and you see the same big spots done every match, they don't mean anything. And that's one of the refreshing things about watching this. You don't like pile drivers. Yeah, they do about one a match. It's not just pile driver. And after not seeing it for the last 20-odd years.
Right. You almost forget it's a thing. It's
kind of nice. I miss them.
At least in my case, I almost forgot it was a thing.
But I like the finish of this match. Of course, it was Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin Music, 1, 2, 3. And then the hilarity started. The finish was, everybody knew Shawn Michaels was going to go over. This is, if Jannetty would have came out there solo by himself, there may have been some kind of doubt. Maybe they'll put him over and he'll get a little push somewhere. But as soon as he came out with Leif Cassidy, and you're not going to have some tag team guy go over your champion in a clean finish, or even in some kind of off the wall finish. But yeah, of course, Michaels went over. Everybody knew it was going to happen. But then the best part, Corny jumps in, and Lothario just clocks him. Corny takes the funniest manager bumps. I love it. Managers aren't supposed to look like wrestlers, especially if you've. Now, Lothario
Lothario was a wrestler.
So if he took he was big in Texas. Big in Texas. That's how he trained Michaels. In San Antonio. But if he takes a bump that looks legit, that's fine. But if Corny's out here taking straight, nice looking flat back bumps, it's going to look odd. Why is he doing that? Which, just plays into these guys knew what they were doing. Everything wasn't planned, but everything had a purpose. Even the manager taking a bump was a certain way to make you think a certain thing. And that's another thing I missed.
Oh, yeah. It was and that whole thing was just expertly done. Because, of course, obviously Cassidy's going to pop in and try to help his partner. So Michaels does what he does best. It's like, there's another Sweet Chin, have fun. And then Cornette,
clear the ring
Cornette,
and dance.
I'm going to get him with my racket. going and getting with my racket. Lothario's like, I'm just going to punch you in the chops. How about that?
Yeah. And it wasn't anything fancy. It wasn't anything. He didn't need to do anything big. It's a manager. He's an ex-wrestler. He's still a tough guy. One punch, Corny goes down, and that's it. You don't need some big convoluted spot there.
Super sock for nothing.
Got the message over. And and on an hour show, they gave these guys 17 minutes. I actually remember to time these. But yeah, so that was nice. Great match. Not like headlining WrestleMania perfect, but I actually gave this a B+. Very good match. Good, solid, good story. Great story. I mean, storytelling in this was beautiful.
Interesting. I gave it an A. I think that's my first A, actually, so far.
I think it is.
First A so far this podcast. And I gave it an A because of exactly what you said. Like, they gave Michaels and Jannetty the perfect amount of time in this match. And the fact that, even with everybody and their uncle on ringside, Michaels got over clean, but before doing so, it wasn't, a typical Monday Night Raw squash. It was, we are seeing two men put on, just slightly short of a masterpiece. We're looking at, I don't know how to explain it, just beautiful storytelling throughout the entire match. And
this was the opening of Monday Night Raw that could have been the top of the card match at not a big pay-per-view, but a regular pay-per-view. And this could have been an in-your-house pay-per-view. Maybe if you build the story up a little bit, not just a cold match on Raw, this could have been maybe SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah.
But it was nice.
Very nice.
So A and B, nice. Okay. So then, speaking of very nice, we get a replay. I believe it was probably from Saturday. What was it? Shotgun Saturday Night or one of the shows. Superstars. Okay. Speaking of nice, we get Sunny and Phineas's love story. Normally, I would say this is the stupidest thing ever, but my God, they sell it. They sold me on this. Sunny has Phineas believing that she's in love with him, and she wants him to say it, and he says, "I love you, Sunny, because you got boobs." But then heel Sunny comes out, and my God, she was masterful. She was just the biggest you-know-what on the planet. I'm not saying she was in real life. She may have been, and she probably was. I mean, from all accounts we've heard, I don't know the woman. I'm not going to, I know she's had, but they always say who you are on screen should be turned up to 11. And my God, she turned this up to 11,000.
Oh, yeah.
She was wonderful.
Definitely. And
I will probably go down as saying that as female heels, Sunny was probably the best ever. I mean, I'm putting her up there. Now, people hated down the road. They're going to hate Stephanie McMahon, but that's go home hate, not you're good at your job. We hate you. So she's like the opposite of Sunny to me. She had go home heat. Get off my screen. We hate you. We don't like you. Sunny had, we hate you, but my God, we want to, no pun intended, see more of you.
That's fair.
Well, yeah. But so Phineas declares his love, and Sunny says, "How would I ever fall in love with a piece of slop or trash, whatever she used, like you?" And just pulling that straight up heel
absolute
bait switch. So, so Phineas gets real pissed off, and what's the other guy's name? Starts with Hog.
Henry?
The other Godwin. It's Phineas and Henry. I know it started with an H because I know they're Phineas I. Godwin, Pig, and Henry O. Godwin, Hog. How original. Yeah, so Henry comes in and they corner with Uncle Jim's
dun, dun, dun.
slop bucket. And Phineas gets her on, they trap her on the ring steps, and he just unloads that slop and all over her. And she takes, Sonny takes the literal slop drop.
And
but how would you have liked to have been at Monday Night Raw and been sitting on the front row there? Oh man, and because that splattered. That splattered a good bit.
And I actually put in the notes on this one too. Vince loses his mind again. How many times did they show that replay?
Yes, he was.
Because he was like, "Oh my
4.
God, look at the chugs! Let's show it again." It's like, dude, chill.
Yeah. I think it's well known now that everybody knows my opinions of Vince on commentary. So I'm going to try to not bury him quite as much. He sucks. But, yeah, I love this whole segment. I wish it would have been live on Raw, not taped from Superstars or the C show. Well, I guess the B show at this point. But I gave this an A, an absolute just masterpiece on how to be a heel.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. I also gave this one an A because, Sonny was absolutely perfect. And looking back at it, it looks like there's a couple different times they show Phineas there. It almost looks like the man's about to cry right there in the middle of the ring. And absolute burial. And I enjoyed it very much.
Yep, very. And so, it wasn't very long. It got exactly the point across. Sonny comes across as just a grade A heel, and love it. Love every bit of it. And so then we get to our next match. Just this card only has 3 matches on it. So, because they gave a quarter of the show to Shawn Michaels. So this one we have Mankind versus everybody's favorite jobber, Duke Droese or Drosy.
I don't remember
how they pronounced it, but I wrote it down. We'll say Droese because he sounds French. Duke Droese. But with, wait for it, Jake, the ever-aging man Snake, on commentary.
Oh, that was...
And I wrote some of Lawler's best quotes down on this. Lawler just
I put that Jake in all caps, and it's funny because I put Lawler buries Jake every chance he gets. Classic heel.
Yeah, and if you know the behind the scenes story, he is just flat out not kayfabing at all and just straight up because everybody knew Jake had problems.
Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, because there for a while, it's like, I know Lawler's doing this to get heat, and he did a great job because there's a couple times watching it, I'm like, dude, tone it down a little bit. You're doing the most right now. But
yeah, I'm kind of wondering, was there heat between these two? Lawler's
right.
good.
That's what I was trying to figure out. It's like, there's a few different times Vince would say something random about the match. It's like, oh, Mankind just smashes the dumpster dude's face in. And then Lawler's is like, speaking of smashed, it's like, dude, really?
Yeah. So my favorite line of Lawler is, hey, Jake, when you sweat, you're a fire hazard. Oh, I lost my mind. That or that Jake's parents were named Bartles and James.
That was good.
There was nobody better on the mic than Jerry the King Lawler ever. We talked about it, King of the Ring. The man was gold.
And
straight gold.
This time, like I said, I know we talked about the basically the burial of Milwaukee at King of the Ring. And with this one, I didn't have that initial whoa, you can't say that, like I did in that one. Because knew exactly what I was getting into watching Raw. And yeah, that was just honestly, I feel like the commentary was more exciting than the match.
Oh yeah, this I was on to open my mouth and say this match was 10 minutes long, and there's a reason we're not talking about what went on inside
just for
the
record, I want to put this out there, ladies and gentlemen. Jake the Snake faces Mankind at WWF In Your House International Incident from Vancouver, British Columbia, which is why he was out there on commentary. That and get buried, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, this did have a little bit of reason to have somebody randomly on commentary, other than like the other ones. Some of the ones from last week. But yeah, so in the ring, Mankind pretty much manhandles Duke Drosset, hits him with the mandible claw, knocks him out. And then the real fun starts. This was like a 6-minute, 7-minute squash match. Didn't matter. I mean, there was nothing inside the ring was important. This was just so. Then Jake the Snake and Jerry the King Lawler get into a fight at the announce desk. Jake's has all he can stands, and he can't stands no more.
Dude. He was like, what did he say? He was like, hey, Jake, what's that saying? Turn in the other cheek? Slap.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Oh, goodness. And he's like, well, that didn't work. Let's try the other one. Smack.
And those were some stiff slaps, too. I mean, it's just a slap, but those were loud. You could hear those.
Like, it was out there. So, of course, they start fighting in between, or no, you got Vince McMahon in between these two big, sweaty men here going at it. And then here comes Mankind and hits old Jake with the mandible claw. Like, I was like, okay, I didn't know there was like any beef between these two guys. You know, like, at least in my opinion, right. There is now. That just kind of set up their match randomly. Like, I didn't really understand that personally.
Yeah, it was what it was. JR Lawler was great. The match was there. I guess it sets up or continues their little beef. Or, I guess they had a match and now this makes it personal. I'm not sure what happened there. But, this was good. It was there. I gave it a C. Looking back, I probably should have done a B, but I'm going to stick with C. It was there. Lawler was just the star of this segment.
This one, I went C-, only because I was grading it from a match standpoint. And the match was literally,
that's what I did.
You know, the dumpster guy has, I'm Duke the Dumpster Man, yeah. And then Mankind, of course, comes in and, you know, he does his squeals while he's choking this poor man out with his fingers. And then he wins the match. It's like, okay, whoop-de-doo. Like, the excitement was on the outside. And that's what saved it from a D for me.
Yeah. It wasn't anything. It was there. It continues, moves the story along between Mankind and Jake the Snake, and we got there. Lawler, beautiful genius. So then we'll move on. We get to our main, quote unquote, main event. Like we said earlier, this is not the biggest or best match on the show. This was we know you're going to be tuning to Nitro in 5 minutes anyway. We'll throw this on here. Or in 12 minutes. Sorry, this got 12 minutes. So this was Goldust versus Wild Man Mark Marrow with Sable, who I love how even after Mark Marrow's long gone, she keeps his music and it becomes hers. I'm like, wow, could you just kick him in the nuts a little more? But yeah, so we have Austin on commentary because he is, I believe, facing Marrow at In Your House International Incident.
Yes, because I think that's like their little
kind of
I guess, closure match from King of the Ring.
Yeah. And I wrote that, and they mention and show that Austin still, because this is taped just like a few days after King of the Ring, like the next night, I believe. So they still show that Austin has his big busted lip and stitches. So I wrote this was the busted lip session.
I like that.
Instead of broken skull sessions like his podcast, which he runs a great one too, folks. You should listen to it. All right. This match was same thing as before. The match was there. Austin was on commentary and was absolute gold. You get to see a little bit of what we're going to see a year or two down the road. Austin McMahon going back and forth, except this time Austin's the heel and Vince is putting over the promotion.
Vince. In this one, I guess.
But yeah, Goldust and Mero, nothing special. They went back and forth. There was a nice. Did you see the electric chair drop? That was beautiful.
Like
that was beautiful.
I was like, I don't know. For me, this is another one where most of the excitement took place on the outside, though, because if you recall, looking at the camera angles and stuff like that, it seemed like they were more focused on what was going on with Marlena and Sable in this one, more so than the men in the ring. And it was kind of funny because, like, you know, they'd always have the camera look at Marlena. She's just sitting there taking her puffs on her stogie, like just straight eyeballing Sable. And it seems like every time she would kind of get a little closer to her, Sable would kind of be like, get away from me.
Yeah, there was some creepy stalker vibes coming out of that, which I think is exactly what they were going for.
Oh, yeah.
So it worked.
Plays into the character of Goldust and Marlena at the time, for sure.
Yeah, it was creepy to the max. Well, no, not to the max, because we'll get there when Goldust meets with Luna. Yeah, we'll get there. But did you notice the crowd was dead? I mean, I've seen back when the pandemic first started and they had absolutely no audience. The crowd was more alive than
this. Yeah, I was like, I 100% agree. I was like, it's like, yeah, by this point, it's like most of these people got these tickets to this show to watch Michaels versus Jannetty. And it's like, look, our thirst has been quenched, you know? It's like, we got this match. One thing that, and it's like, you know, one thing that kind of griped me about this, though, is that I feel like they focused a little too much on Marlena and Sable. And it's like,
yeah, because are we going to see that match?
Definitely happening at this point. And
yeah, I don't think so either. So
like, what's the point of? I mean, and no disrespect to either of these women, but it's like, these are your valets.
No. Well, Sable, much disrespect.
These are valets. You know, we're not seeing that. Like, don't act like you're going to hype it up. The fact that out there distracted Mark Mero a little too much in a match with Goldust, it's kind of an insult to Mark Mero. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you know,
kind of buried his credibility a little bit.
Sable can, like, just straight up throws under concrete later on in his career. But, like, you know, like, I get it. You're trying to, like, you know, I guess protect your valet or your manager or your woman, whatever. But it's like, dude, you're in the middle of a match. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't just kind of take your eye off of your opponent and expect him to be like, oh yeah, I'll give you a breather. You know, you check on Sable. And I love the fact that Austin called that out twice.
Yeah. So like we said earlier, this match we thought was to set up Mero. I mean, we got Mero versus Austin. That's why Austin's out there. They worked this match like it was setting up a mixed tag team match between Goldust and Marlena versus Mero and Sable. And that just completely confused the crap out of me. Which I will say, if there is that match coming, I really want Goldust and Marlena to be called the ambiguously gay duo. And Sable and Mero can be called the haves and have-nots. Right.
I was like, yeah, I can't. I was like, other than that, like, you know, the distraction comes and all that. Goldust is like, well, here's my opportunity. curtain call, into the match.
One, boom, boom, boom.
Like,
ding,
that's
ding,
all
ding.
it took.
Yep.
And Austin took that opportunity again to be like, look, that was dumb. That's stupid. Why are you paying attention to what's going on outside the ring? I mean,
yep,
that makes perfect sense to me.
And with this match now, do you believe that Mero has any chance of beating Austin?
No, absolutely not.
If you're gonna have a match with Mero, put him over somebody. If Goldust, who isn't your king of the ring and who you're obviously trying to push, even the audience that don't have any idea of what's going on can look and go, well, this guy's Mero's a putz. He's not. There's no way he can beat Austin, which was good if you're actually going to put Mero over Austin. But everybody in the mother knew that was
dude just won King of the Ring. He's not going to lose the next pay-per-view to the guy he beat in the semifinal. Like, there's no way.
And who?
Oh yeah, especially after this, it's like, bro, like what?
So this was 12 minutes of Austin on commentary, Marlena stalking Sable, and some decently good working in the ring. Mero's sloppy, but Goldust is good. I just gave this a C. It was there. Austin was great. Yeah. He's the only thing that saved it.
Yeah, I was like, I gave it a C. Like, it was one of those things. Yeah, the match wasn't. I mean, it definitely wasn't main event quality, in my opinion. But I mean, we got to hear Austin on commentary with Vince and Jerry Lawler. Yeah, Jerry Lawler. Almost said Jim Lawler. But but hearing him, and it's like just the beautiful interaction between, well, both Austin and McMahon and Austin and Lawler. It was great. And just a little bonus thing here too. The fact that even after, well, what would have been a commercial break on USA in 1996, we come back to the start of this match and Lawler is still burying Jake the Snake. Like,
yep.
That was, I love it. Beautiful.
That's what made me think it may have been personal. It may have been personal. There may have been some.
I think it was one of those things that might have been glad that the boss was right there between them, because there might have been some blood splatter on the people behind the commentator's table there had McMahon not been out there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But that, so what'd you end up giving it? I don't think I caught that. See, okay, yeah, so we agree on that. Yeah, so that was Raw. And if you look at this card, it is completely just flip-flopped upside down for a reason. I mean, that Goldust versus Mero match would have been great to open the show with. Then move on to, I mean, you could still do you could put the Sunny thing anywhere. Mankind versus Duke de Rosé. And then your main event, Michaels versus Jannetty. But they flipped it upside down because they knew Nitro's got 2 hours. We want to get him early and try to keep him, which they got him, but they didn't really try to keep him on this card. But overall, this was a good Raw. This was a good Raw. It wasn't bad. We tear it apart, but Michaels, Jannetty was good. Was really good. Sonny and Phineas angle was great because Phineas played his part well. Mankind there, that was basically him, just Jake the Snake and Lawler hating each other. And Goldust and Mero was there. It was a solid Raw. It was flip-flopped, but it was good. I liked it. I gave overall, it averaged out to a B-, which is a good Raw.
I think this one, oh God. I have it a C- on this one. I lost track of where I was in my notes. I had it at a C-. Like, to me, especially now that we've done both Raw and Nitro for July 1st, in comparison, based on what's to come, like with Bash at the Beach right around the corner for WCW, I don't even remember if I caught the date for when.
Can't wait.
I can't even remember if I caught the date for International Incident, but it just seemed like.
I didn't write it down. If I did,
to me, like in comparison, Raw seemed kind of lackluster. Not so much with the matches themselves, just to me, I guess the overall quality compared to the two. You know, Shivani, Zbyszko, and even Bischoff, and of course Bobby the Brain Heenan, they have me thinking that the WWF is on their way to Atlanta right now to kick in Ted Turner's probably solid gold door and say, we own World Championship Wrestling, and there's nothing you can do about it because, I don't know, we're the big Wall Street dudes or whatever. Like, I'm pumped for Bash at the Beach. International Incident, I mean, take it or leave it. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I guess. I mean, technically, Bash at the Beach is one of their big pay-per-views, so they are working up to that. And knowing what we know that's going to happen, yeah, we're really pumped for it. But even if you take it in a vacuum, you're sitting there in 1996, and you're looking at the two. Let's say Mommy hands you $45 and go, you can get one or the other. That's not a hard decision.
The only way I'm watching International Incident over Bash is if I'm a WWF fanboy at that point. And it's like,
yeah,
even, going to school and your friends are like, oh, are you watching Bash at the Beach or whatever? Hell yeah, I'm watching Bash at the Beach. It's like,
damn right.
Exactly.
Who's that third
man? We want to know who's the third man. There is no third man in International Incident. We'll get to that later. But yeah.
There's a missing man.
It's like I want to know who's it going to be. Like, is Savage going to turn on Sting and Luger? Are any of those three guys going to turn? Is somebody else coming from the WWF? Who knows?
I think that's everybody thought somebody else was coming. I think everybody has kind of thought maybe, I mean, if you look at who they always hung around with, I think everybody always thought Michaels was coming.
Could you imagine?
But we'll get. Oh, let's back up off on that. That's Friday talk, not the recording schedule. That's Bash at the Beach talk. We're not going to speculate on that here. But yeah, if between the two, there's no comparison. I mean, we're not saying you can't watch both, but if Mommy only gave you $45 to buy one, unless you were an absolute, I hate everything WCW does, you are watching Bash at the Beach.
Hands down.
But that pretty much wraps us up today, I think.
I don't have anything to add here. I think, Raw was decent, but still kind of 1996 cookie cutter, in my opinion, up to this point. It's like, if you have anything to add there, Drew?
I enjoyed watching it. I actually really enjoyed the show.
Oh, making me look like the heel here, man.
Yeah. I know.
Say something controversial. Get some heat. Nah. We'll save that for like episode 100.
I could tell Uncle Dave Meltzer what I think of him, but I won't do that here.
Oh, God. Don't get me started on that guy. Okay. Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mute the mic before.
Get that censor button ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I do say, if you stuck with us this long, we appreciate you guys listening to the show. Hope you guys are following along on the Peacock if you are, or the WWF Network if you are international. And I'm super jealous. That being said, I'm Arnold. Yes, follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Instagram. We love you guys. And subscribe, like, and comment on YouTube.
YouTube will be up later today.
You can't forget the obligatory plugs there. So try this out there again. My bad, everybody. All right, once
we're new.
Anyway, yes, I am Arnold. That's my tag team partner, my co-host, my man, Drew. Drew. Paul Bro.
Better than Avatar.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been great. Thank you guys for listening along with us, watching along with us. And I want you guys to have a good day or a good evening, wherever you may be. And if you ain't down with that, I got 2 words for you.